Hey y'all, hope you're doing well today. We're going to talk about a subject that everybody's excited about, and that's e-commerce. Having sales on your website, attracting those customers not only to your website, but showing them what a great experience it'll be if they come to your brick and mortar store. Now, a lot of people don't think about their point of sale and the e-commerce. They think about just the website, what will it look like? But it's very important that they're connected because they're completely independent of each other. So we're going to talk a little bit of that today. I'm going to be showing you how it works with Heartland Retail. So if you have that software, it'll be great. If you have another one, they fairly work the same. Now, you want to foster a really strong relationship between your e-commerce platform and your point of sale. It's crucial to today's success when it comes to managing your inventory. If you have the product in stock, generally, are they going to be happy when they place an order or disappointed? Now, let's be honest. You're already wearing too many hats. You're doing so much as a store owner. And you might be saying, my e-commerce isn't perfect. I don't know how I'm going to manage it. It's overwhelming. I need to hire somebody. But you actually don't. If you're starting with your point of sale, it can run your e-com for you. Now, in this video, we're going to talk about some practical tips. I'll be doing a series to take you into a deep dive, but today we're going to do like a high-level overview to realize how important it is your e-commerce and your point of sale work together. These are actionable items. If you do them, you will have success. Okay, so let's get started here. You're going to go to your point of sale, and the first place you want to start is your custom fields. All right. Now, I usually like to take a look at our items. And let's go ahead and grab and pull up an item here. This would be a good one. This is a beach towel. Now, first of all, it has a picture. It has a great picture that's going to look wonderful on the website. It has default cost, a current price. If you notice, everything that has a red dot is what you have marked as required. If you've marked it as required, when you do a file upload, an import, or an export, that is going to be required to update your photos. Now, what we have done here is we would want to add a custom field, and this custom field is going to be just for the point of sale. So you go to settings, you choose custom fields, we'll go new, and we're going to put this on web store, we'll call it. This is for an item. We're going to make it required, and we're going to do a drop down, and it's going to be yes or no. Yes, it's on the web. No, it's not. And we're going to save that. So we go back to our items list. Let's pull up that same beach towel. Okay. And you notice we now have a custom field that says web, yes or no. This will be your trigger that this item is uploaded to your e-commerce. Okay. Now, there's a lot of other items that are required for your e-commerce. And if you notice, we don't have a lot of things on here that have a red dot. Where you want to start is what is required on your e-com site. What fields do you need? And then generally what they're looking for then is whether it's a yes or no, whether it's taxable. You need to go into your e-com site, whether it's BigCommerce, and decide what fields are required. When you get a list of those required fields, then I suggest that you do an item export so that you can then do a mass update of all your items so that you'll know that they'll successfully be loaded up to the website. Okay, and we've done a more detailed on how to do an import or export. Right now you could just download an Excel file template. You're going to save that somewhere. Okay, we want to open that up. Your Excel, and this is going to give you a list of all the fields in your item. Item number, description, default cost, dynamic margin. Okay. Now what it does not show in you here is what is required and what is not. What file upload will fail or import will fail if you do not have that field completed. So what I like to do, and if you've got two screens, it works great. But if not, you're going to go back into your Heartland Retail and your items, and you're going to look at what has a red dot. What have you marked required? Okay, so we go back to our towel, and we're going to know that default cost is red, category has a red, it's required field, and web store is required field. Now, there are some fields in every point of sale that may not be marked with a red dot that are required. I can pretty much guarantee you the item number is required and the description. So you'll need to mark those. So what I like to do is I take it and I say, all right, I'm going to go ahead and mark those fields with a color. Okay? And what's nice about that is you say, all right, you can filter, you can sort it. Let's go ahead and pin our bar here. We put our ribbon there, we go back to home. And we're going to go ahead and make these a color. First, we need to save our document. Okay, so now it's saved. And maybe you're going to make those fields yellow. We know that the default cost might be required. Current price you're going to need on your website. Is it an active item or not? I would keep that because in case you find the items you want to mark inactive. Are you going to use a description? That comes into our next trick. What fields are you going to need for your e-comm? So for example, if you know the default cost is not on your e-comm, but current price is, you could put a slash for yourself and mark price, if that's what it's called on your e-comm. Let's say, for example, BigCommerce. Now, if you're using categories and subcategories, you're going to take this a step further and say, okay, that category is used on your BigCommerce, but they might be nested. So we're going to go ahead and make that a required item. We're going to talk about it a little future. Size, UPC, they could search for that. Tax exempt, yes or no. You could search there. Whatever is going to be required to do the file upload or on your BigCommerce. Now, what we know is really important is the web store. That is going to be required. So you take it. So what you want to do is go through your template, mark everything that's yellow that you're going to need to have completed to do a file import into your point of sale to update, and that you know is going to be needed to sync with your e-comm site. This is a great starting point because it starts with your POS. When it starts with your POS and everything is complete, you're going to have a successful transition to your website, to your e-comm. So, my suggestion is take a deep dive into your items, take a look, see what is required in your point of sale, make sure that the fields you need for your BigCommerce or any e-comm site is a custom field or a field on your point of sale. And once you do that, you're going to go back through, you're going to download a template, go through your template and mark all the columns, somehow highlight them in yellow, that are required. that you must have. Then you're going to take them and you're going to go through and you're going to name them based on what that corresponding field is in your e-com site. So UPC is UPC in BigCommerce, okay? Active, you know you don't need that in BigCommerce, so if you want, you could say not applicable for BigCommerce, but it is required for your upload because you're going to want to make sure that you're not sending or syncing items that you currently don't carry at that time. Maybe you're marking it inactive because it's Christmas season and you're moving into the summer items. You're not going to carry it for a while, but you know you might carry it next year. This is the long description. That could be a different name in your e-com. Now, what's really common is that you might need a brand or a way to search for the customer to search for brand. The brand is probably not in your point of sale as a custom field, but the brand might actually be your vendor. So if your vendor is the brand, you can market brand. Or if you discover that you want the customer to be able to search by brand in your e-com, then go ahead and add it in as a custom field into your e-com and market brand, and then market required so that you don't have a failed sync. Okay, so you're just going to do the same setting like we did before, new. Name the custom field and whether it's required or not, and then choose a text or a drop down. So, speaking of drop downs, this is our last hint for the day to really make it work, is that I would create drop downs or fill-ins whenever you're doing, after you do your file export, and then you have the fields that must be completed. If you have a drop down in your point of sale, if it's a pick from list or a drop down, then add that drop down into your Excel sheet. And we will do a deep dive into that in another session. But it is something to think about. But as you're preparing, these are what I think the biggest helpful hints are. Remember, it starts with your point of sale. That is the heart of your business. That what drives your data. It gives you customers information, gives you vendor information, margins, all that great stuff that can help you be successful. And it's definitely going to be in your items and the item information that will make a successful syncing with your e-commerce a breeze, will not take too much of your time, can be handled by somebody in your store. And if the products have required fields that are completed, you should never have a failure. So that's what we're talking about today. I hope your e-commerce and your point of sale gives you some great hints. Remember, your point of sale is your inventory items, your cost management, your vendor information, your customer data, and your loyalty programs. So subscribe to us, watch us. We've always got helpful hints. We're getting out there for you every day. Have a good one. Thanks for listening.